I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on Metal Rules, I'm pleased to be speaking with Tobias Sammet of Avantasia for the release of Here Be Dragons that will be released on February 28th. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time today.
Great. Yeah, I love the new album. I think it's so much stronger, so much aggressive, so much more melodic than the last album you put out, Paranormal Evening with the Moonflower Society. Would you agree on that?
But it's always hard to judge a picture when you're still so up close to it. So,
Yeah.
so I would say, it sounds very punchy and it sounds very logical, and it's a very song-driven album.
Yes.
And I like the previous album. I really love A Paranormal Evening with the Moonflower Society and also Moonglow. I like everything I've done. I'm so absorbed by myself, you know. I think everything I've done is the best thing I've ever done.
I
And,
think you keep
and
raising the bar. I really enjoyed the last one until I heard this one. I was like, oh my God, this is so in your face and it's hard rock, and
I,
and melodic, and that's what I loved about it. That's my
what
sticking point.
I think, yeah, and thank you first of all, but I really think it's because the album is more song driven. For the first time in the career of Avantasia, I haven't had the goal. I didn't set out with a specific goal of creating a Broadway-ish rock opera kind of thing.
Mhm.
I didn't come up with a plan as to what the story might be. I just had a blank canvas in front of me and thought, okay, I'm going to throw myself into this. I'm just going to come up with a record. I approach it like doing a record for a band or with a band, and I just see where it takes me. And that's the title "Here Be Dragons" because that was uh, an expression from an ancient map
Mhm.
to indicate uncharted territory. As a warning, don't go there. There may be dragons. And I thought, oh, it sounds like adventure. Let's
Yeah.
go there. Let's find out what lurks around the corner. And that's how I approached the album. Fearlessly, I was just throwing myself into the waves, and out came a very song-driven album. Yeah, I agree. It's the best album in the history of heavy metal. You're right.
I agree. I agree. It's so layered. Where does a song start for you? Where does it, typically with Judas Priest, they write a riff and they come up with the riff, then they have the melody. Where do you start with such a composed, symphonic, layered song?
I just, I say most of it all starts in front of my piano. I'm
Okay.
sitting there. I mean, I may have an idea, and it's a process that is difficult to describe because you have an idea, you have something on your mind, and that may not even be a song idea in the first place.
Right.
You have a feeling, an emotion, you have something that is really annoying to you, and you don't keep diary, you don't write it in your diary. You just I sit there and I just let it out. I let it flow. I play music, and all of a sudden I may come up with a part. I'm singing some gibberish and just playing around with the fingers, and all of a sudden you think, oh, that's a great melody. That's interesting. And then you sing gibberish, and you already have the syllables that
Hmm.
sound good to the melody, and so it builds from there. So I'm a very melody driven writer. I come up with harmonies and feelings become harmonies and little bits and parts, and from there it's like a transformer, like in those AI advertisement clips on TV, when out of nothing all of a sudden everything unfolds and everything comes open and
Wow.
it gets bigger and bigger, and from there it grows. It's hard to describe, and there's always an exception to the rule, and there is not even a rule, but that's how I feel. Those ideas become music.
It's incredible too. It's a composition. It's more than just a song, in my personal opinion. And that's what I found fascinating about the creative process of it is it's more than just a riff and a melody. It's layered with instruments and different types of singers. So I think it's and different styles. And I think it always comes out fantastic. And you do that so well, not only as a musician, but I think as a composer too. You're tremendous at it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that, and I think I don't suck at it. but it's a it's a very, it's a very natural thing. So
Yeah.
that's why it's really hard to describe. It's just, it doesn't feel very difficult. It doesn't feel complicated. Some people ask me like, how difficult was it to put this new album together? And I said,
Right.
if it was
Right.
difficult, I'd be an accountant or something, or do something else, because in the first place I've become a musician because it is not that difficult.
Wow.
It's something I
Yeah.
want to do, and something I really, I'm a lazy person. I mean, I'm not necessarily lazy. I mean, I can work 16 hours a day if that type of work
Yeah.
is appealing to me. But it's like I don't want to force myself to do something, so it doesn't necessarily feel difficult. And there are things I don't understand in music. Certainly, I really don't understand how people can read scores. I mean, I learned to read
Yeah.
scores. I learned to, but there are piano players. I mean, most of the classically trained piano players, they have a score. They have a sheet music in front of them, very complicated sheet
Yeah.
music in in weird keys, and they just play it along. They see it for the first time. I mean, we did this one album, no, two albums actually. I did with a symphonic orchestra, and there were all these musicians sitting in front of sheet music they had never seen in their entire life, and I started to play what was there simultaneously to a recording. And I remembered my music lessons on organ. That's what I actually learned. My trick was, my mother once asked me, like, you learned how to read scores for so long and you can't read scores fluently? And I said, no, because my secret was my teacher, my music teacher, my organ teacher,
Mhm.
he always played the song to me before I was supposed to play it,
Wow.
reading the score music, the sheet music. And my musical memory was so, I was so afraid of reading that shit that I memorized what it sounded like, and I played it and
Incredible.
just used, the notes as a rough guidance and a rough, guideline. But I memorized it, and that's how I
Incredible.
got around reading scores and sheet
Yeah, I
music.
can't read music, but I learned how to play guitar with the help of a teacher, obviously, and then just constantly listening to the record over and over and trying to emulate it. So I can't read music, but I could definitely, you know, pick something up off, the radio or the record player. But what you're doing is far more advanced in the composition, which is tremendous, and I love it about the album. And the opening song, "Creep Show." That's a straight up rock song. What a fantastic song, and what a way to open the album. And if people who haven't seen the videos it enhances the song if that's even possible. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, I'm really, really happy with how Creepshow turned out.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't planned to be. I mean, I wrote Creepshow a couple of years ago already in
Oh,
the first version, and I thought maybe it was a bit too Ed guy-ish to use as an Avantasia song, because it's a bit tongue in cheek. It's not dead serious.
right.
It resembles, even to me, a little bit my playful side of early Ed guy, and also you can clearly hear that I've been or still am a Kiss fan, because to me it sounds like a more modern version
Yes.
of something like "Shout It Out Loud," and that's how
Yes.
I I thought it in my head, with the two voices. No, 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 no. I don't remember the lyrics now. Have to memorize them. I'm going on tour in 2.5 weeks, but. Count a spell, jammers in a veil. And this was Gene Simmons, and you're the spark to set a fire now to yourself. That was Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
And just in my mind, somehow I didn't really think of it that way, but subconsciously that's what it became. And I think, again, with this new album, I thought time has come. I can step out of what of that box that Avantasia and I had been in with Avantasia, and I can determine what Avantasia is all about, and I can
Right, right.
enhance everything. And I make the rules, and I'm the king of this kingdom called Avantasia. So this song will be a song on the new album, and I will make people believe it's Avantasia. And those who don't believe, just watch the record. It says so on the cover artwork. It is Avantasia.
Yep.
It's an Avantasia song, and I know, of course, I got some flack because the gatekeepers of Dragon Metal did not approve the song because it was slightly what they said commercial.
Yes.
I hope it's going to be commercial. I need that money, but I don't need it. I want it.
Yeah.
Um, so I hope, but but it's not been made because let's
Right.
face it, this music will always be a, a subculture, genre, niche kind of thing. And it
Agreed.
doesn't really matter whether you're using double bass drums and play twice as fast, or if you do a song like the Avantasia rendition of Shout It Out Loud, it's not going to be mainstream anyway, and I'm absolutely fine with it. But don't let that fool you just because it's a mid-tempo song, it's anthemic, and it's not overly complicated. It doesn't mean that it's a mainstream song. But it's like
I
people
get
are
it.
people, and
Well,
some
yeah,
people just
it
they don't
applies to
like
Def
something,
Leppard
you
too.
will not change their mind. Yeah.
It applies to Def Leppard too. Def Leppard has put themselves, and it's not no disrespect to Def Leppard. They have a box, they have a formula, and all their songs and their albums are very formulaic, and they sound the same. They can't go back, I don't think, and do a high and dry album. I don't think it would work for them. And the same question for you, you had just answered for me. It was one of my questions to you. You really broke out of the box on this one with the style of the band. And I think that's what I loved about it. And I thought it was a great way to open up the album. It's just a catchy song.
Yeah, it is a very catchy song, and it was way too catchy to grasp for some people. But it's always good, a bit of controversy is not too bad
Right.
because it feeds to the algorithm, and a lot of complaints on the World Wide Web, and a lot of people saying no, it's a great song. Some people say no, it's a shit song, and it feeds each other, and it gets bigger and bigger. And I thought it's a great song, and we're going to open the concert with that song because I think I'm gonna prove those little fuckers wrong. We will
Yeah,
go on stage and the whole venue is gonna jump up and down and gonna
absolutely.
sing along, get up, and I know it.
I agree. I totally agree with that sentiment. And I would love to see that song in concert too, because I think it has some great elements, theatrical elements, like you put in the video, which was tremendous too. That was almost like Kiss song meets Alice Cooper video, and it's really a great fun video too. So people should go. I know I'll put it on the website, so you'll have people get to watch it on the website too.
Absolutely. It was great fun to shoot. Usually I like video shoots as much as having a root canal. And I really don't like because you're just sitting around waiting, freezing your
Yeah.
ass off, and for you're waiting for 2.5 hours until you're going to shoot for 30 seconds, and then you're going to freeze for another 2 hours, and that's usually what shooting videos is like. And this video shoot was great fun because we were going to this old castle in northern England in Yorkshire, and an amazing place. Um, it was an amazing place, very historic, a bit spooky. I have to admit, it
Huh.
was the real deal. I mean, this was not just
A
a
set.
mock castle. It was a real, yeah, and
I didn't know that.
it was spooky, and there was a great crew, and many actors, and it was great fun. It was really
Oh yeah.
great fun to shoot it, and it's a bit. I wanted to go for something resembling an old classic horror movie, a bit like
Mhm.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Eventually, it became a little bit like it resembled more Beetlejuice than than
Yeah.
Dracula.
Yeah.
But I like it, and
I
and
like it a lot.
it's yeah, it's a great video, and it was a great experience.
I have to wonder too, your songs could be lengthy. How come this one was like only 3 minutes and a couple of seconds? I mean, you could have done another verse. It's such a catchy song, and when it ends, you're like, oh, I got to go back and hear that again. And I keep listening to it over and over because I love it that much. But what was the rationale for it only being 3.4 sec, 3 minutes 4 seconds, whatever it is?
You know, the funny thing is, it was a little longer. It had an additional break, an additional breakdown section of the
Yeah.
guitar, before the guitar solo. And there was no additional verse or something because, I don't know, maybe I'm slightly autistic. I always want to go with two verses, and that's it. And it's
Yeah.
just I have this. It's subconsciously just felt like doing it that way. It was a little longer, but I thought that part somehow to me. I think it was getting in the way of boiling the song down to its essence,
Okay.
and it was just it was a subconscious feeling. I mean, 3.5 minutes would have been great for a single too, so it could
Mhm.
have handled another 30 seconds
Mhm.
without a problem. I think we cut it by around 25, 30 seconds,
Right. Right.
or maybe 20 seconds. I have no
I
idea,
remember exactly.
but it was just a subconscious thing. It was just a feeling, and I thought, let's boil this down to the ultimate song where there's no. I mean, it was a bit of a challenge, even boiling things down to the essence. Not so much
I
with the
can see.
title track "Here Be Dragons" because it's almost 9 minutes long, but
Right. Right.
it's as you can hear in my answers, I have a hard time keeping things short and brief.
That was
And
a challenge for you on this song, right?
it was, yeah, and I'm learning, it's part of my therapy.
That's great. Yeah. And
Cutting songs. I'm starting with cutting songs, and then when we go on tour, I'm going to and going to the next round, next step, next exercise, cutting speeches and stage banters.
and to balance the Creep Show is Here Be Dragons. It's the title track. You got Jeff Tate on that song too. What a tremendous song that is. And when he comes
Mhm.
in, it just blows the doors off of the song. I've listened to it countless times, and I'm at the point where I think the word dragon is truly a metaphor for something deeper and more introspective to the people, the characters in this song. And I think it has to do with they're stronger than they really think they are. But I can't put my finger on it. And I wanted to ask you for some insight into that. What's the meaning behind dragon? Because it's not a literal meaning. At least I don't think so.
No, it's not a literal meaning, but it refers to to that to that expression, Hic sunt dracones, a Latin expression, or here be dragons, on an ancient map which I discovered in a book, and it was used to as a metaphor, not as a metaphor, but as a warning to don't come here, uncharted territory, there may lurk danger.
Mhm.
And I thought that was a great way to, it was to me an invitation to to set off on a journey and go where they may be danger, but to me it sounded almost also like a promise of adventure, and that's what I wanted to go for, and that's the whole approach of the album. The song "Here Be Dragons" deals with escapism,
Yeah.
and it deals with different aspects of escapism, but not escapism as a way to to deny reality, but as escapism as, and I think the previous album it's a bit of a leftover of the message of the previous album,
Okay.
especially that song. Um, because you can also escape to places that may be your imagination, but that are not just an, an a surreal area, but an extension of reality. And I think that's what imagination truly is. And you can escape to just, b- disappear and and
Yeah.
numb the pain of real life, but you can also escape to a place to become one with yourself, use your imagination, gather strength. And I think that's what every heavy metal fan and hard rock fan can relate to. We have our safe spaces where we gather strength to go out into the world of of the idiots again, and and just and just have the strength to face the world outside again. And that's what I think Here Be Dragons speaks about. It speaks about going down the rabbit hole and discovering a state of mind, a world that is truly a state of mind that will give you answers and support for what you have to face up there in the world of idiots the next morning.
Mhm.
And just go to that world and try to find something there. And that's what we all do. I mean, we're all lunatics that use our imagination. And what I found in my imagination was in no way something surreal or a castle in the sky. No, it was the foundation of what I turned into a career. I mean, some people may have thought, oh, he's just a bit nuts. He's got his monkey hour. I turned it into a career, and my whole um, imagination is the basis for what I'm doing. And I think that goes for everybody to a certain extent. Use your imagination to determine yourself what you're going to be and what you're going to do with your life. And that song speaks about it. It speaks about different reasons to escape and to plunge into the wonderful ocean of imagination.
I love it.
And it speaks about different characters too in the midsection. It speaks about people who have a hard time to cope with their everyday situation, and so everybody of us may have their reason and need to find a safe space to gather strength.
And that's what I love about all your music, and I appreciate that insight. And I found it very, it was escape, it was a fantasy, it was a journey, it was a story. And I felt like I was reading a book without having listening to a book. And I loved the stories. They weren't just about sex, drugs, and rock and
Mm.
roll. You know, they had depth, they had meaning. And if there was, and it made you search. And that's what I loved about, this with your songs. I guess you want your listeners to discover something new about themselves and interpret it how it fits into their lives. And that's what I thought was great, because my logic or my interpretation would be a little different than somebody else's. But at the end of the day, it's not a bad interpretation. It's just a different interpretation. And is that what you set out to do with these songs too?
Abs- uh, Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, I don't want to lecture somebody what to think or give somebody spoon feed somebody mentally or deliver answers. First and foremost, I'm trying to discover things about myself and process my thoughts and my feelings, my emotions, my sorrow, my joy, and just put it into, turn it into music and words. But then again, I think we're all made from the same matter. We're all the same to a certain extent, and we have similar feelings, and we know similar situations. And what may apply to me may apply to somebody else with a little bit of a different approach and a little bit of a different interpretation. It may apply to someone else's situation the way it applies to my situation, or maybe in a different way, but still it may.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing about music. And I just read that somewhere somebody said that Ronnie James Dio's lyrics are just fantasy gibberish and stuff. And
I heard that too. Yeah.
no, they're not.
Rainbows and unicorns,
No,
they say,
to
right?
me, they're the world.
Me too.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I've heard people say they're just rainbows and
I
unicorns, and I disagree. I don't, I disagree with. Agree 100%
no,
with what you're saying. It's more.
absolutely. When I hear a song like "Stand Up and Shout," it's just an anthem of it's
Absolutely.
just you won't break me, and it gives you strength. It's just like you tear down the shackles, and you just say, yes, I'm going to stand up and shout. It's got nothing to do with escapism, and there are beautiful beautiful lyrics, and Dio always gave me strength. And I think the way he played with words, even though some of the words were uh, appearing here and there again. But guilty as charged. I mean, I don't want to throw the first stone. I'm in a glass house, so it's it's those lyrics have been always very influential to me, and I think it's everything's open to interpretation, and yeah, I think I often write lyrics and I write them just for me and I write them really without addressing them to anybody. And that's, I think, also the beautiful thing about not doing a concept album. When you do a concept album, you approach it when you write a story.
Right.
You have to make sure people understand that story. So you write for somebody else. It's a service providing.
Mhm.
When you write individual songs, you get things off your chest. You just let it flow, and it's just what you want to say. Stream of consciousness sometimes. You don't worry. The moment it's off your chest, it's not your business anymore. Anybody else can do with it what they want to do. But I've discovered that many people came to me after, after a show or something, or about a signing session, and say, "Hey, I was in deep trouble. I had a very shitty period of my life. And this one song, this particular song, or that ballad, or that passage, this chorus, they really helped me." And they may have a different life situation than me, but it means the world to me because,
That's
I
nice.
mean, it's just, it is nice. And it's also, I think, we're living in a world that presents us with many challenges. And it's quite, it makes me feel comfortable. It gives me great comfort, let's put it this way, to 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 be told that I've shined a little light into the darkness. And I think that's what we all should do. I mean, I don't want to come across as Mother Therese, but you know what I mean. It's
I
it's
do.
just,
I do.
it doesn't cost anything to be nice and to make the world a little better. And that's why in my music, there may be dark lyrics, there may be The Witch, there may be Phantasmagoria, there may be dragons on this new
Mhm.
record. Um, but still down the line, the light prevails. Even
That's a
though
great
I'm a
thing.
moon person, and but the good always wins in the end, at least in my book.
No, that's a great sentiment. And you also have some impressive array of musicians who are on this album. I guarantee you that if Dio was alive, he'd be probably honored to be on one of your albums, because I think it would be a great fit. How do you go about selecting,
I try.
Jeff Tate?
Jeff Tate is a wonderful, wonderful singer, and he's been
Yeah.
singing with me or I've been singing with him. I don't know. We've been singing with each other
Yeah.
since I think 2000. And he was first on the Ghostlights record. That was 9 years ago,
Okay.
and we became friends. And he's a very, very lovely chap, and he's
Yeah.
a very, very influential singer. I think what the likes of of Ian Gillan and Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford, what they have been doing, I think that he took it to a very, very technical level, and he kind of he balanced things out so well controlled with um, such a strong expression, almost overly expressive,
Hmm.
but not going over the threshold. So he was very influential. You will hardly find a singer these days who sings our type of music, which is, dragons and rainbow metal and unicorn metal. No, you will hardly find a singer who sings that type of music that wouldn't cite Jeff as one of his main influences.
Oh, yeah.
There are people will always cite Bruce Dickens and Jeff Tate, Michael Kiske, Rob Halford. Those are, none of these bastards cites me. But anyway,
You have a
okay.
tremendous
Um,
voice.
well, sometimes on a good day, yeah, I get away with it. Um, so uh, it's, but really, I mean, even Michael Kiske is a big fan of Jeff, and Jeff has been very influential to Michael. So, and I love Jeff. I
Yeah.
know there was quite a big discussion back with the Queensryche thing, and people, and Jeff had a reputation and whatever. You know what? Jeff is one of the loveliest, one of the funniest, one of the wittiest, one of the most well-behaving, nicest friends I've ever made and
Wow.
encountered in this whole fucking business. Never had a single, we like each other. We really like each other. And sometimes we text each other little red hearts.
Oh, that's nice. I've interviewed him a bunch of times. He's a
Yeah,
very nice
absolutely.
guy. He's a really nice guy.
Absolutely. Very, very, very nice.
Well, listen, I want to be respectful to your time. I love the album. I can't say enough great things about it. And I wish you the success with it. And hopefully you come to the United States and do a tour here, because I would love to see you play here. I've been watching videos of you playing at big concerts with tens of thousands of people. So it'd be fun to see you in person.
I really, really hope, and I haven't given up hope yet. I haven't
Yeah.
given up hope yet. I just heard there's a slot available at Prague Power now. Just kidding, just kidding. You know, the Iron Savior thing. Um, you know, I'm afraid. Invite me. Um, no, I'm not actually scared to go to the United States. You know, it's not. I mean, this is not. There's no cannibals living there, right?
No,
No,
none.
people just eat their pets. But I'm
They
not a
just eat the
pet anyway.
pets. Yeah. As long as you don't
No,
bring
but
your dog. We'll eat your dog.
no, I'm just kidding. Don't take. I'm just
I
taking the
know.
piss. I really, really hope that it's going to happen. I have to say, it's not exactly easy, especially for a juggernaut like Avantasia, and it's not exactly easy for a foreigner to come to America and get a working permit and make money there. It's really the whole thing is not easy. It's quite a bit difficult,
I agree.
but I know we have many fans there, and whatever their conviction is, I'm willing to play for you guys, and I hope to meet as many fans there as possible, and I hope we can make it work. Right now, there's no definite plan yet, but I haven't given up hope, and I'm crossing my fingers.
Great. We're going. I hope you do. So thank you so much. It was
And
so
Glenn,
it's such a fascinating.
Glenn of Brock.
What's that?
I was just about to say Glenn of Brock Power. Yeah, I was just about to say Glenn of Brock Power. If you win the lottery, get us over. We're going to deliver a headline show.
Yes, I'll come over to see you too, or I could just come and see
Yeah.
you. That'd be great too, and go to visit Europe.
That you won't lose as much money we lost last time we came to you guys. So
Yeah.
certainly it's going to be more feasible to fly you over to Europe and watch the show here. But I think some of the other fans in the US would not, it wouldn't be very beneficial for them. So let's see if we can make this thing come over. I mean, I got so many friends from America involved in it. I mean, it's like, Adrian and Jeff has been singing on the album, and Eric Martin is going to join us on tour. And
Oh wow, yeah.
there is I think the 30-40% of Avantasia is American. So we should make it work down the line. In a nutshell, that's what I
That's
want to
great.
say.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's tremendously insightful, and I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and have a lovely, it's not evening yet, have a lovely afternoon.
I will. Thank you so much. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.